Let me say to all the members of the board, and some of you know that I have consistently come before the board, especially Diane Porter. I'm going to, and one of the young ladies addressed the thing that we have to address here and in this country. That is the problem of race. I'm 82 years old, and I am going to address it just like that young lady did. I am here this evening to oppose the political attempt by the state to take over control of our public schools in Jefferson County. Governor Matt Bevins is playing the race card with the African American community and JCPS with his appointment of Reverend Milton Seymour and Interim Commissioner Lewis. Governor Bevins knows what he is doing, and so do we. Pastor Jerry Stevenson has no religious right, constitutional right, or legal right to slander our superintendent, Mr. Martin Polio, by saying to this community that, quote, Martin Polio is a racist bigot on his radio program on radio station WLLV. I support this board, my elected board member on this board, Diane Porter, and I support the teachers and students of the Jefferson County public school system. Dr. Polio and other elected school board members must be allowed to make improvements they began 10 years ago. We elected you. You were not appointed by the state governor or the city mayor. All of us in this room have the power to remove the governor or any of those representatives that are supposed to represent our best interests of us who live in Jefferson County. Governor Bevins and his hand-picked appointees don't have the authority to control us unless you allow them to do it. He knows better, I know better, and everyone of us in this room knows better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lanier. Okay, Pastor Stevenson, welcome, but let me say this. This is a challenging time that we will get through, but one of the things that I hear consistently is let's be kind. And I cannot censor anybody that's talking. You're not talking about anybody at JCPS, but remember, the message is important, but let's be kind with our words, please. I'm not speaking to you personally, but it's getting to our last two speakers, and I just want to say that. Welcome, Pastor Stevenson. Thank you for being here.
Madam Chair, Dr. Polio, and to this board. As you know, a week ago, we stood, the Kentucky Pastors in Action Coalition held a press conference here, providing our support to the state for taking over the management of this organization. We felt it was important that you personally hear from us, and that's why I, as the operating officer for the Kentucky Pastors in Action Coalition, is here to address you and to share with you why we believe that's necessary. I first started coming to this board in 2009. I shared with you this board, and unfortunately, you were not here, but we shared with you the 2008 audit, as well as the national review by the Fordham Foundation. And it talked to you about this board and this community about the issue of why this board and this institution is not educating our students of color and low-income children. And it cited that 2008 Kentucky audit, as well as the Fordham Institute, cited the relationship that this board has with the collective bargaining agreement. That is no secret that I have never kept it a secret with Dr. Polio nor Chair Porter. It is that document that we believe is the greatest hindrance to the education of our children of color. The state's Office of Education Accountability describes the collective bargaining agreement between JCPS and the teachers union as being the most comprehensive and cumbersome in the state. Comprehensive and cumbersome means the administrator's hands are tied when it comes to implementing policy that results in the best, most experienced teachers being placed in the lowest performing schools. While the union claims it no longer stands in the way of placing the seniority in failing schools, it opposes allowing the district to offer financial incentives for great teachers. We do have great teachers, and I believe that. But until this board has the courage to address this issue, I haven't been back before this board since 2013. And the reason is because I don't believe this board is listening when it comes to the real dynamic problem that you're faced with. I'm going to make this available to Dr. Polio because we don't have anything to hide. And I know I'm not popular, but I'm not here. I'm here to talk about this 81% of low-income children in my neighborhood who cannot read in the 4th grade. That's who I'm speaking for.
Thank you, Pastor Stevenson, for being here, and thank you for providing the information for Dr. Polio. Our last speaker for the evening. I have never made that statement about you. Okay. Our last speaker for the evening is Gay Edelman. Ms. Edelman, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent Polio, Chair Porter, and the rest of the JCPS board. I came with a different speech prepared, but I would be remiss if I did not address the previous speaker's statements. The first time he spoke to you was in 2009, and clearly that is not the same board or the same administration. Tonight is a perfect example of the racial equity policy that is being passed, that this is a different board and a different time and a different climate. The union document is not what ties our district's hands. It's state law. It's the main reason I'm running for state senate. I want to get in there and change the state laws that affect tie our district's hands, tie our superintendent's hands, tie our board's hands. We talk about, he mentioned the greatest hindrance. There are so many laws that tie our hands and make this an adult-centered game instead of what's best for students, and you can't blame the adults for focusing on meeting goals and competing with schools across town when some schools get to choose their students and some don't. The seniority of teachers is, my son graduated from the academy at Shawnee, and I've seen that what happens at a school with high turnover. And what we need to be doing is providing supports and resources and accolades and kudos to the teachers that work in those schools, not continually berate them and drag them down because they can't keep up and perform with the highest performing school across town, such as Manual, as they mentioned before. Manual's achievements are incredible, but it's not just because of what's going on in the school, but it's because they have the ability to choose the students that attend there, and then a school like Shawnee doesn't. So let's look at the tribunal process and what forces our district to keep teachers that probably should not be in classrooms. That's something that we can change at the state legislative level. Again, he mentioned he hasn't been back since 2013, and so again, I rest my case about this not being the same board that it used to be.